of our basmati rice is essential, and that has to go large scale. We keep developing new varieties, but the blast resistance combined with the other important traits must go to the field, and large scale it must occupy, so that the fungal resistance management happens, and we are able to address the residue very well, and our export doesn't get impacted in the process. And this has to happen with regard to milk. This has to happen with regard to horticultural produce. The traceability in the process has to be in place. They are all which are being talked about, but I believe there is an imperative need to have more discussion and more implementation of all these, more research. I don't think we have now enough research. My colleagues who are attending will take this very seriously, that how do we really address this imperative need in this particular segment. We can produce more, but we will be in deep trouble if we do not have quality, we do not have safety management happening side by side, and your all processing value addition will fall flat, and we cannot win the global markets. And the 5 trillion economy, 10 trillion US dollar economy, and contribution of agriculture in the process, all these that we have been discussing would not be really satisfied. Forget about societal benefits that we are talking about. And how do we actually, in the process, bring about this change? And what should be the institutional framework that we would like to really strengthen? And the rural infrastructure and all that which need to be really strengthened in the process. And you know very well that how this is happening otherwise. In certain instances, I'll cite one example that how it is happening. And if you take the example of Andhra Pradesh, and where the system of technology mainstreaming and the state coming in a big way, working very well, and creating and strengthening local institution is a very important aspect of agricultural imperative. The Raitu Bharosa Kendra is a beautiful example which is being implemented in Andhra Pradesh. I'm sure my colleagues would be very much tired, and I have spoken for about a hour, so may not like to listen any further, but there is an imperative need for all of us to study that system, how it works, how the digital platform is working so well, how data-driven it is, how the input supply system is inbuilt, how the farmer's information system, starting from the land information to crop information, is being mainstreamed, and how the agricultural experts providing guidance to the farmers is being provided, and how the youngsters, particularly young professionals, are providing solutions at the grassroots level. And these, Raitu Bharosa Kendras, more than 10,700 of them, which are operating, and more than 32 lakh farmers, procuring seed by using Raitu Bharosa Kendra, and all the inputs quality being analyzed before supply happening. Not only quality seed, even fertilizer being procured by 10 lakh farmers, and farmers almost 4 lakh getting credit through these kendras, and more than 15 lakh farmers selling their produce at MSP through these Raitu Bharosa Kendras. And even products like ragi, produced like ragi being sold through this. And this is a kind of system. I believe that we need to really study this first of all, and how it is working as a system. And we say there is no adoption, but I believe that if we plan holistically, the farmers not only would accept technology, and there will be scaling up happening. Dr. Joshi's analysis in that NABARD supported word, which says the differential scaling up happening with regard to technology and variety of factors influencing the adoption process, and motivation, getting influenced by a variety of factors. And all these would be addressed to a great extent that if we actually have a system like this, and we will have economists actually doing a great job there, the extension scientists actually understanding how this extension model can work, how this societal development model can work, and how farmers are benefiting, and how agriculture can gain tremendously from this model. And in fact, the digital kind of push which has been given, there are kiosks and farmers can learn about the price. And there is also farmers getting, for instance, PM Kisan, Samman Nidhi funds getting through right to Barasakent. And the kind of status of, the crop growth being there. So everything, all information being provided there, is a beautiful example of, mainstreaming institutions. And this is one institutions, it's the imperative need to understand. There are other examples in other states, and I believe that as a scientific organization, the apex body, we must study and even, learn from the experiences and then see if there are gaps. In fact, we have a tripartite agreement, ICAR, FAO, and AP government. They're working together in this to strengthen this further and then see how best we can actually address this. Youth is another imperative need, youth strengthening and attracting them, motivating them. Dr. Purodas push to Maya, motivating and attracting youth to agriculture. And our own ICR's program of attracting and retaining youth in agriculture, that is ARIA. They're all very, very important concepts. Thousands of youths have been trained, and thousands, more than 50,000, initiating their own enterprises. And in fact, those which who returned home after COVID, more than 60,000 of them which were trained by our KVKs, and of course, 15% of them are starting their own enterprises. And in the process, getting retained in villages. There are beautiful examples of attracting youth, including women, to agriculture. But believing that the farmer's son or farmer's children, daughters, they have to work in farm, I think there is a fallacy in our thought process. We need to really get out of this thought process. Everybody is aspirational. Ours is an aspirational society, and that aspiration is everywhere. And let the youth of a farmer, the children of farmer, think about becoming a civil servant or IAS, or becoming an engineer or doctor, not necessarily farmer. But who would be a farmer? If those who have the right kind of inclination, and how do we really build this inclination? And starting from our school days, and school curriculum has to change. Dr. Agrawal had a kind of discussion on this. How do we really change syllabus and have specific topics and subjects like agriculture, not only at early school stage, even higher secondary level, and orient students, those who are interested to have their own enterprise in agriculture, profitable enterprises in agriculture. We are doing hand-holding through entrepreneurship development. We have various programs. We have incubation centers. Very well done. But that's not really enough. Why? Our own analysis in National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, about our startups and entrepreneurship reveals that there are issues and problems. N number of problems and issues are to be really addressed. So this imperative need that attracting youth, retaining them requires a big kind of push, and a lot of actually gaps are there which need to be really addressed. Motivating youth requires a lot of things to be really done. The cognitive theory of motivation and goal setting, and also incentive theory, and all that we read in textbooks need to be really worked out very well. And how do we really incentivize? How do we really work out the need and create the need? And how do we really play with the instinct of the youth so that they are oriented towards agriculture. It is not just compelling them and giving a slogan that the children of farmer has to go for farming. So there is a need to really work on this. And in this context, you all know that the Maslow's need hierarchy. And Maslow's need hierarchy talks about self-actualization, but there are 5 important steps. The physiological needs have to be met primarily. The food, clothing, shelter, sleep, reproduction, air, water needs of the individual has to be met. The societal needs, which are physiological in nature, have to be met. And obviously, to climb the ladder, unless we meet this, probably climbing up would be difficult. Although there is no dependency, one can move still independently. The safety needs, love and belongingness needs, and esteem needs, and self-actualization needs, and all these are very, very important. But the need of the youth needs to be really analyzed to motivate them to change their attitude. The IITians are coming back to agriculture because they see the challenge. So there is something to motivate them. There is a technology in the form of digital technologies to motivate them. And there is a profit which is motivating them, profit from digital agriculture or precision agriculture. The precision agriculture needs are to be met, and youth is there and getting attracted. IITians are getting attracted towards this particular aspect. So how do we really do this and motivate them? And unless we have this, and our extension specialists are to be really go deeper in motivation, understand the needs, at what stage farmers are. And I'll cite one example that we have given Padma Shri to about 20 farmers during past 5-6 years. We not only identified them and nominated them, even recommended some of those names, and we feel proud that we have helped them to be recognized. But this is very, very important, very, very important. That is the esteem need of farmers. We never thought that the farmers who are doing subsistence farming, and they will be aspirational, and that will be esteem need, and the esteem need of the farmers getting fulfilled by way of this recognition. But there are many complications there. And obviously the complication is, how do they continue contributing to what they are doing and succeeding in the process? There could be situations of failures, and hand-holding would be critical so that they contribute. But at the same time, how they can be used to motivate others. We have 20 of them. We have 75,000 farmers whose income have been doubled during past 5 years, and we have documented them. How do we use them as motivational leaders, and as farmers, who can actually do hand holding? And I believe this requires our deep thought, and use of these can be mainstream. And Maslow's need hierarchy analysis says, and our traditional national demonstration which was conducted says that farmers to farmer learning would be very crucial in scaling up, and the process enhancing technology penetration, and in the process providing greater benefit to the society. So this aspect needs deeper thoughts. The deficiency needs are to be made, the growth needs are to be made of the society, and particularly of the farmers, so that we have more of farmers coming to this fold and hand holding happening. If 75,000 farmers can do hand holding, it can reach 75 lakhs in another 5 years. And that is how you can get scaled up, and the process, the country is covered by that process. But then when we do all this, and if we take into account the kind of global challenges which are there before us, certainly we can't really neglect the developments which are actually happening all around us. India's digital revolution is one, and this digital imperative in agriculture cannot be undermined. We have initiated a national project on precision agriculture. It's only a beginning. I saw the other day we had a review, but there's a very little funding provided. There is a requirement of massive investment. Government of India is doing, but in agriculture, this investment is so little. And we need to really look at our phrase, and we can work with industry, we can work with the entrepreneurs, the startups, and then see how we actually be a player, a big player in digital agriculture revolution, in precision agriculture revolution. There are plenty of examples, precision irrigation system, for instance, in Israel, or for that matter, many parts of the US, and how this precision agriculture works, drone-based agriculture, or sensor-based agriculture. All these are there for us, but what should be the plan of action for us? That, there is opportunity, no doubt, and I'm sure. But what is required? The data analytics, data-driven digital agriculture, weather data, market data, as I said, Raitu Bharosa Kendras are working in this direction. And similarly, the farmers and entrepreneurs require capacity building and training. And who would meet this? Our own scientific community has to be really trained for this. And unless we do that, I don't think we'll be able to really address the digital agriculture imperative of the country. And I'm sure as we go along, we should be able to really meet this requirement. There are various other needs and imperative needs. I'll not go into those details. But what is the scope of we joining hands and then working together and accelerating what we are doing? For instance, when I say that we would like to really have more of interface for adoption of technology and mainstreaming of nature positive agriculture and more of farm gate processing, value addition happening, and so on and so forth, that can we really strengthen our own activity? For instance, we initiated Mera Gaon, Mera Gaura, scientist farmer interaction. Where we are we successful in this? A critical internal review should start, and then we should go for external review. And this needs strengthening. Can we really see if we are succeeding in 13,500 villages? Can we move to another 13,500 villages nearby or far off places, so that the cluster is built and we have more villages coming into the fold of farmer-scientist interaction, farmers, scientists directly contributing to developments, that whether it is micro-irrigation, organic farming, all that we talk about, and vaccination happening, artificial insemination happening, the feed, local feed system, green fodder production happening, all that we talk about, can we really enhance this up and, through Mera Gaon, Mera Gaura program, scientist-farmer interaction program. This would be an example to set before the global community that how we can actually, sustain this society. So to sum it up, what is that I wanted to tell and what message I wanted to give? The message is that the science-driven development of this society cannot prosper if we do not have innovative science and technology, evidence-based policy making, as we have seen starting from the Indus Valley civilization until date. We must really focus on this, and this is the imperative need. And if we do not really do this, we will be there where we are. The poverty reduction rate would not increase. There are a lot of schemes of the government which are working. I have highlighted some of them and how we can be a big player in the whole change that is happening. Let's be a part of the whole change and be a change maker and in the process contribute to development. And farmers' empowerment is important. Youth and women empowerment is important. And I have described all this when we were talking about agricultural imperatives in days ahead. So with this, let me profusely thank you that you have given me extra time, and more than 450 people are still there listening to what I speaking about. And it is not that entirely I say everything new, but putting those together in a different manner to bring a perspective to agricultural imperatives, so that we build a better society, a prosperous society, a society where poverty perishes and we have nutrition all around. We address malnutrition, and we have agro industry growing, youth in the process, and women empowered. So with these words, thank you everybody. So thanks, Dr. Agarwal. So I stop here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for a very elaborative description of this science-led development for the society and what can be the imperative role of this agriculture. I think you have not left any dimension, whether it's a digital, whether it's education, whether it's a climate change, the holistic approach, water, soil, animal science, the poverty, the various schemes of the government, disruptive technologies. I think every aspect, whatever is possible, has been covered by you nicely, and that shows that how much in-depth knowledge you have got, because heading the ICAR for such a long period, you have the multidimensional experience, you have the multidimensional contribution, and that also shows that I'm also happy to inform you that in the 74 lectures, we have the maximum number of participants today. The maximum limit was 500, and there were more persons in the waiting room, but we could not allow. But I think through Facebook, they must have enjoyed this. They must have listened to you. And in many institutes, there were students and the staff sitting in the halls. So I could see in some of the halls, people in 50s or in 60 numbers, they were sitting. So I think it's a very educative lecture, sir. And I'm really thankful to you for agreeing to deliver this lecture on our continuous insistence, and really making this lecture series very important. And I think the idea of having this 75 lecture series was also your vision. And we know your vision has really helped ICAR in many ways. We can see the many activities which I've seen in this 75 lecture series also. Sir, because we are lacking time now, so I'll not be able to take up the questions, or I'll not be able to invite anybody else for this, for the comments. But maybe for few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, I can just ask first Professor Gautam, if you have anything to say regarding this lecture. Professor Gautam. Sir, can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Agarwal, for giving me time despite the time's constraint. Well, Dr. Mahapatra, this was a very, very interesting lecture. First, of course, when I just heard about the topic, I said, I thought it will be just general thing, but you traveled through various areas and really enlightened us all about your views on how the technology should move, how innovation should be taken, and how the policies and the synergy of technologies, policies, and the scientists and institution and the private sector is critical for addressing the needs and the problems of the society. Not much to say because it was very, very interesting, very exhaustive, and you have done the best justice to the presentation. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, sir.
And we look forward for hearing from you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Today in audience, we had Professor R.B. Singh, we had Dr. Madan, we had Dr. Brahm Singh, we had Dr. Gajen Singh, we had a lot of eminent persons who were present. And a word of blessings we can have briefly from Professor R.B. Singh. Professor R.B. Singh, sir, can you unmute yourself? And just a brief word of blessing.
Is it?
Yes, sir. We are able to listen to you.
First of all, let me say that Professor Mahapatra, such a comprehensive lecture. As a matter of fact, science to serve society, and the various components that society has to deal with, right from poverty, hunger, undernutrition, malnutrition, inequity, and so on and so forth, the climate change, you name it. Also the quality consideration and exports, the value additions, the value chain, you just name it. My goodness, I tell you, such a comprehensive lecture in 1 hour I have never heard. And you have covered everything. This speaks volumes for the kind of, learning process that you have gone through and assimilated the entire situation in such a way that it speaks for the system. And we are extremely grateful to you for this very, we pray that we have more opportunities to listen to you, and we would certainly like you to continue guiding us in many ways that you can, and we would certainly see that our farmers benefit ultimately. It is the farmers, it is the men, women, particularly the young youth and the women must be encouraged to really take the leadership. And looking at your leadership, hopefully they would be able to inherit something in that direction, how the leadership can really make a difference. So we are very grateful to you. God bless you. And we really want you to continue stronger and stronger and keep guiding us in the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And I wish you all the best.
So thank you all, friends, and special thanks to Professor Mahapatra for this enlightening talk and sharing his experiences. I think many of whatever he has spoken, he is a man of action. He has already implemented in ICAR. You can see a lot of changes now in various platforms, digital platforms, education and climate, and through this NICRA project, through many things. So thank you, sir, for sharing your experiences, rich experiences. And I want to just request all of you that the 75th lecture, to summarize this 75 lecture series, is being taken by none other than our Honorable Agriculture Minister on 16th of August at 12:30. So I request all of you to join. I'll just provide the link. So with that, I again thank you and sorry for taking time out of your lunch. Thank you and namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar. Namaskar to all of you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor R.B. Singh. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
We could have given a standing ovation, sir, but virtual, we cannot give that.
Yes, but we take it really to standing ovation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I stand.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar.
Okay, Dr. Agarwal, thank you very much.
Sir, namaskar.
Thank you. That's really great.